You're not reacting to what happened. You're reacting to what it meant. Think of one situation you keep replaying. One conversation. One moment. One reaction. One silence. One regret. That moment didn't define you, but it showed you. It showed you where your trigger lives. That is not shame. That is information, and information is power. This is why I don't believe in motivation. Motivation fades. Awareness remains. This is why I don't believe in hype. Hype excites. Discipline transforms. This is why I don't believe in affirmations. Affirmations comfort. Practice changes. You don't need to change everything. You need to change one moment, then another, and one day. You will realize something quietly powerful. Your reactions no longer own you. You still feel, you still care, you still experience, but you decide. And that is what people feel around you. They don't feel dominance, they feel stability. They don't feel aggression, they feel certainty. They don't feel performance, they feel presence. And presence is what cannot be ignored. And before you think this is just mindset content, it's not. Triggers aren't philosophical, they're operational. They decide what you say when you're tired. They decide what you tolerate when you're lonely. They decide what you buy when you're insecure. They decide what you eat when you're stressed. They decide whether you lead or shrink when pressure shows up. That's why mastering them isn't self-help, it's self-command. Because if you don't command yourself, something else will. A person, a mood, a memory, a craving, a fear, something. Let's talk about the most common trigger on earth right now. Not anger, not fear, not jealousy. It's this, the need to be understood. People are starving to be understood. And because they're starving, they overreact when they don't get it. They text paragraphs. They explain too much. They defend too fast. They argue past the point of dignity, all because someone didn't understand them immediately.
I just want her to understand. Why won't you listen to me? Stop twisting my words. This is so frustrating.
But here's the truth. Being misunderstood is not danger. It just feels like danger. Because once for some people being misunderstood meant being punished. It meant being ignored. It meant being treated unfairly. So now you don't just want to be heard. You need it. And that need is the trigger. That need is what gets you in trouble. Because the need to be understood makes you easy to bait. If someone wants to control you, all they have to do is misrepresent you. And you'll jump. You'll correct. You'll argue. You'll chase the narrative. And suddenly you're performing for someone who doesn't even respect you. That's not strength. That's a hook in your nervous system. Here's a modern example. Someone leaves a comment. Not even a long one. Just a cheap shot. A misread. A straw man. A drive-by insult. And you feel it. You feel that heat. You feel that pressure. You tell yourself, I don't care. And then your fingers start moving. You start crafting a response. Not a response. A courtroom argument. Evidence. Context. Receipts. Sarcasm. You're trying to win. But what you're really doing is proving you can be controlled. You think you're defending your reputation. You're defending your trigger. Because the truth is, high-level people don't argue in comment sections. Not because they're better. Because they're not reactive. They don't feed hooks. They don't donate attention to disrespect. They choose where their energy goes. That's the whole game. Energy is currency. Triggers spend it without asking. Now let's talk about a trigger. People hate admitting. The approval trigger, the do you like me trigger. It shows up everywhere. It shows up when you send a message and wait for the reply. It shows up when you post something and check the numbers. It shows up when you say something in a group and watch faces. It shows up when you're with someone you secretly want to impress. And it makes you act strange. You overtalk. You oversmile. You self-deprecate. You soften your opinions, you pretend you don't care, you try to be easy. Then later you feel gross because you weren't being yourself. You were being strategic for approval. And the irony is, approval seeking kills respect. The more you need it, the less you get. Because neediness is readable. It leaks in tone. It leaks in timing. It leaks in the way you ask a question, like you're apologizing for asking it. So what do people do? They try to become confident. They try to hype themselves up. They try to fake it. That doesn't work. The approval trigger isn't solved by confidence. It's solved by internal authority, by a different relationship with your own mind, a relationship where you don't need external confirmation to stand by what you said. Here's a simple, modern moment. You're invited somewhere. You don't want to go, but you also don't want to disappoint anyone, so you say yes. And the second you say yes, you feel resentment. Not toward them, toward yourself, because you just taught yourself that your no doesn't matter. You just trained yourself to betray your own preference. That's what a trigger does. It gets you to betray yourself quickly. So you don't feel the tension of saying no. You avoid tension now. Then you carry resentment later. That's the trade. Triggers always offer short-term comfort with long-term cost. Always. If this hit harder than you expected, the trigger field manual is below. It's short, practical, and made to help you catch your patterns faster.